Okay, so for this assignment, we want to use the full HD setting, which is 1920 by 1080. And then don't forget to change your frame rate to 24. So make sure you have the width and the height, just like this, and then click Create. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come to my little zoom panel here, and I'm going to click on Fit in Window so I can see my entire stage. And what we're going to do is start making parts of the city. You may want to do some of the parts of your city on different layers in case you need to go back and change anything. So the first thing that we want to do is create our road. So go ahead and find a color that you would like to use for that. And you can just use your rectangle tool. Okay, so I want to get rid of my stroke. So if I click on here, I'm going to click on this no color fill here. Some items you might want to stroke on. If you want to stroke on your road, that's completely fine too. So that's up to you. So I'm going to make my road here. And again, it's okay if some of it goes outside of the stage, but if you want to try to fix it, you just use your free transform tool. I'm going to go ahead and name that my road. Okay, so now that I have my road, I want to add the yellow stripes. You want to make sure that for using the line tool, you want to change the color of the stroke of the line. So I'm going to change that to yellow. And right now I have my stroke size to 10. And I'm going to use that to make my line. And I'm just holding down Shift so I make sure that it's straight. I can adjust this. And then I'm going to hold down the Alt key to make a copy of the line. Maybe scoot it a little closer. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and lock my road layer, and I'm going to create a new layer, and this is where I'm going to put like just a row of grass here. So I'm going to take off my stroke again, find a green, draw that on there. I'm going to lock that for now, and then I'm going to create a new layer. This is going to be where my buildings and things are. So you can just use, different shape tools to create your buildings. The whole area should be filled up. You can have different sizes. They can go off screen, things like that. So just kind of keep in mind, for this one, for the buildings, I do want to add my stroke back. And then I'm just going to use different colors to create my buildings. Maybe not that big of a stroke. I'm going to do about 5. Okay, so this part of the video I'll speed up. If you have any questions about making the buildings, feel free to ask. Along with the rectangle tool, you can also use the line tool to make, maybe you want to make like a pointy top, things like that. Okay, so you can always come back and edit your buildings if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and lock both of my building layers, and then I'm going to go in and create doors and windows on a new layer. Okay, also if you did windows like this and you wanted some of them to be different colors, what you can do is highlight over them. Again, this is if you did your windows on a new layer. And you can go to Modify, Combine Objects, and select Union. And then after that, you should be able to get your Paint Bucket tool. And if you wanted to use a new color, let's say you wanted to put like darker ones in there, you can do that too. But you wouldn't be able to do that unless you union them together. Okay, now that you have your buildings and your road, we're going to make a sky, but we're going to use a gradient for the sky. So go ahead and make a new layer. You can title this your sky and go ahead and create a rectangle shape. So we want to open up our swatches. We're going to go to Window and select, well, I thought we were swatches. Then you're going to click here on this first gradient box. Then you're going to go up back to Window and select Color, which is right here. And then you can choose two colors. Now, before we go on, we want to rotate this so that the, what is it, gradient is facing the other way. So with your free transform tool, go ahead and start rotating that. And then we will expand that. If you want, you can make it smaller. It doesn't take up so much space. Now let's go ahead and drag it to the bottom of our layers panel so that we can kind of get a good look at it. And then you can always go back to the color and change that to really any colors. You can have a pretty, different colors there. You can have normal black, blue and black, or blue and white. So blue and black would be more nighttime. I don't like that blue. Okay, so now that we have that done, your next step is going to be to create your um, cars, your vehicles. So there's a few ways you can do that. First, you want to find an image that you can use. So I'm going to do a bus. I'm just going to look up some bus clip art here. And you want it to definitely be a side view. You don't want anything like this or front. So I'm going to pick this one here, and you can save it or just drag it onto your desktop. Now, if you wanted, you can come and draw, bring that image into here. You need a new layer. Create a new layer. You go to File, Import, Import to Stage. Okay, so then I would kind of lock this layer and I would create a new layer and just find you can use the brush to draw over it. I have drawing tablets if you want to do that. You can try to use the shape tool to form it that way. I personally draw better in Illustrator, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just delete this. Okay, yeah, and that. So I'm going to go ahead and save my progress here. I'm going to open Adobe Illustrator. So I would create a new file. And I'm fine with leaving it. I have 8 by 8 inches. Just make it big enough. You don't want it too small. And make sure you have a high 300 ppi selected and click create. I'm going to drag this image into here. I'm going to go to my layers panel. First, I want to go to Window, open Links. And I'm going to come here and embed image. Okay, you always want to do that first, and then you can lock this layer and create a new one on top of it, and that's what you're going to be drawing on top of. So to me, it's a whole lot easier to draw with the brush in Illustrator. I prefer to use the drawing tablet, so if you would like to use that or try it out and see if you like it, then that's okay. There are some brush settings that you need to use there, and so if you are using the drawing tablet, I'll help you set that up. But I'm pretty good at using the pen tool, so that's what I would use. So you want to highlight everything and you want to make sure you can zoom in here and make sure that all your lines are touching, unless for some reason it's meant to be open. But if anything is going to be colored, you're going to need to make sure that the lines are touching or you won't be able to paint it with the paint bucket. So what I'm doing is I'm using my direct selection tool and I'm clicking on these edges that I can see that are not attached to anything, and I'm just dragging them so that they touch a line. You want to make sure you have everything drawn before you start kind of messing with these. I don't know what happened there. Some of these harder edges, you can use this little rounded off button to round them. I think I'm okay with mine. So now what I'm going to do is highlight the whole thing. I'm going to go to Object, Live Paint, Make. Then I'm going to get my Paint Bucket tool, which is right here under the Shape Builder, or the shortcut for that is just the letter K. And you can hover over each of your pieces and kind of see if they are highlighting. If they are, that means that you are able to paint it. If for some reason one is not highlighting, that means that the line is not connected and that you won't be able to paint it then. Okay, so you can get your color swatches by going to Window, Swatches, and you can start painting your vehicle. If you want to, you can also, I believe, change your stroke. I think mine's a little too tiny. So just kind of get that how you want it. Then after that, you do want to go ahead and save a copy on your cloud in case you need to go back and edit it ever again. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Export, Export As. Go ahead and find a folder you want to put it in, and you want to export it as a PNG. Okay, you change that there. Check Use Artboards and click Export. You want to make sure that your background color is transparent. Go ahead and change your resolution to 300 and click OK. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our animation. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to go to File, Import, Import to Stage. Click on my folder that I put it in and select it. And it should be a pretty clear picture. If for some reason it's not, then you might not have checked the 300 ppi. So now I'm going to use my free transform tool to make this smaller. I'm going to hold down the shift key so that it doesn't get distorted. And then you just figure out how big you might need it to be for your road. And we have that set up there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go and create one more vehicle that's going to be facing this way. This bus would be facing here, and another car will be facing this way. Okay, so I just finished creating my second vehicle. I created a car, so I'm going to go ahead and import that one on a new layer. So this is my bus. I create a new layer. I go to File, Import, Import to Stage, find my car. I'm going to go ahead and rename my layer. And now I'm going to resize it using the free transform tool. I'm going to hold down shift so it stays the correct size. And I may have to adjust my bus later. So I'm going to kind of compare that. So a car is a lot smaller than a bus. So maybe it's going to be like this. I'm going to make my bus a little bit smaller. Okay, so we want our bus to start off frame, and same for our car. But we want to make sure we have it lined up the way we want it. I'm going to hold shift so that it moves straight back. Same for this one. I would want this one maybe a little bit lower. I'm going to hold shift to move it straight back. Okay. So now what you're going to do is going to decide how long we want this animation. Maybe 3 seconds. So 3 seconds is about, we'll just go to 75. So we're going to come up here. We have all these layers. Make sure you can see them all. Click on that first one at 75. Hold down the shift key and click on the last one. Then you're going to click on insert keyframe. Now, even though none of this is moving, we have to insert a keyframe here, otherwise the background wouldn't show across the whole scene. Okay, so that's why we do that, but we don't have to worry about creating any animation on those parts. So I'm just going to kind of move my timeline down. So now what I'm going to do is on my bus layer, I'm going to go to frame 75. I'm going to make sure my bus is selected, and I'm going to hold shift so that will drag the bus along the same line. I have to do this in sections here, and I'm going to move it off the screen. Okay, so it goes from the left side to the right side. Then I'm going to come here into the tween and create classic tween. Now before I do the same thing with my car, I just want to play it and make sure that I'm okay with the speed. I'm okay with that. It's maybe been a little fast. If you wanted, you could extend it to be longer, but I'm good with that. So now we're going to do the same thing to the car. So the car over here starts on the right side, and it's going to go to the left side. So I'm going to come to my frame 75. I'm going to make sure my car is selected and hold shift, and I think it went off. I think I'm moving it more than I want to. And drag it across the way. Okay. Then we right click on our tween, on our span, and create classic tween there. And we don't want that to happen. So what we need to do is move our bus layer on top of our car layer because the car is traveling behind the bus. So then if we play that, that is what should happen. And if you're good with that, you should be good to export it as a GIF. So you can go to File, Export, Export Animated GIF. So I'm going to go ahead and save mine. Okay, so then you have a finished, I wish this would not show up. And then for this, for the project part of the assignment, all you have to do is turn in the GIF. I don't need a screenshot. If your cars aren't moving, then I'll know that you didn't do it correctly. But always check your GIF to make sure that it plays before you turn it in. Because sometimes something can happen and for some reason it doesn't play and we need to fix that. Okay, so always make sure that it plays before you turn it in. And that's it. Make sure you've also turned in the other things that are a part of your assignment, which are the two car drawings that you had to create, and then your cityscape.